I thank the Chairman, and I wanted to talk about the IRS targeting of conservative groups and frankly, the pattern of deception and delay that we've seen from this administration. And I would just remind the committee, you don't take my word for it. Just yesterday, in the Hill, front page, feds won't release IRS targeting documents. So you don't take my word, take Bob Cusack, editor of the Hill, respected mainstream journalist, talking about the deception and delay from this administration. I think it's important we remember the whole saga here. February 2012, Lois Lerner told this committee's staff that there was no targeting going on. Turned out to be a lie, of course. March 23, 2012, Doug Shulman, then Commissioner, told the Ways and Means Committee he can give assurances that there's no targeting going on. Also a false statement. May 2013, that day when Lois Lerner went in front of a bar association here in D.C. with a planted question, again, unprecedented, to get in front of the story, went before the Inspector General released a report and talked about the targeting by the IRS of conservative groups. And I quote from remember, she talked to Treasury and the White House about this, from Mr. Cusack's article yesterday, and I quote, then Chief of Staff Mark Pedersen at Treasury informed the White House about the plan to disclose the targeting, quote, so that the White House wouldn't be surprised by the news. So think about this. Planted question, before the Inspector General's report comes out, she discloses that, and the White House and the Treasury already knew it was going on. And then, of course, we have Ms. Lerner talking about Cincinnati was the problem and not Washington. That was false, and the White House says it's a phony scandal, no corruption, not even a smidgen, which brings me to Mr. Koskinen, the current commissioner. February 14th of last year, we subpoenaed you for all of Lois Lerner's emails. Put up slide number 1. Just a few weeks later, March 26th, in this committee room, the chairman of the committee, Mr. Chaffetz, ask you a question. Are you going to provide all of Lois Lerner's emails? And your response was, yes, we will do that. You remember that conversation, Mr. Koskinen?
I remember that conversation. You reminded me of it a couple of times.
Yeah, and I'm going to keep doing that because the American people are frustrated and mad about what the IRS did to them regarding their First Amendment free speech rights. June 13th, you sent a letter to Senate Finance saying, we lost Lois Lerner's emails and destroyed. The hard drive's been destroyed and the tapes are destroyed. You remember that letter you sent to Senate Finance, Mr. Koskinen?
I do remember that.
10 days after that letter was sent, you came back to this committee room and we asked you some questions. Let's put up the second slide. I asked you specifically, what date did you learn you couldn't get all her emails? Remember that conversation, Mr. Koskinen?
I remember that conversation.
And your response was, I learned in April. So my question to you is, today, will you admit that you misled this committee, the U.S. Congress, and more importantly, the American people, just like Ms. Lerner was doing, just like Mr. Shulman was doing? Will you admit that you misled the Congress and the American people?
No, absolutely not.
You don't think you misled them?
No.
So you told Mr. Chaffetz, yes, we'll give you all her emails. A few days later, you learn in April, that was March, in April you learn you can't, and you wait 2 months to tell us, and you don't think that's misleading the American people?
I do not. We waited 6 weeks to tell you, and we waited those times to find as many of the emails as we could, and as we reported.
So let me ask you this. Have you sent the chairman a letter saying that what you told him on March 26th, yes, we will get you all Lois Lerner's emails. Have you sent Chairman Chaffetz a letter saying, you know what I told you on March 26th isn't true?
As I noted in a hearing, we've had several hearings, I still tell you, we said we will give you all the Lois Lerner emails. We gave all the Lois Lerner emails we had. As I told you once before, we couldn't make up Lois Lerner emails. We didn't have them produce them. We gave you all the emails that we had, and we continued to look for those. You said, I'll give them all to you, and then you write a letter to the Senate Finance saying you lost them, you destroyed them. Have you done anything to correct the record? Actually, we didn't lose them and destroy them. They were lost in that period of time in 2012. And when we testified in June, I testified that we waited the 6 weeks while we tried to provide you as much emails as we could, and there were 24,000.
Put up slide 4. Put up slide 4. This is the letter you sent. And you said you can confirm that no backup tapes existed. So you confirmed that you couldn't get us all her emails, and you've done nothing to correct the record when you told Mr. Chaffetz you were going to give all of them to us. And you waited 2 months before you ever told us that you lost them.
I waited 6 weeks so we could provide you all the emails we could find. We've provided you 24,000 emails from the time of her hard drive crash. And we said in the backup tapes, did
me
not
ask you-
exist because they had been re-recorded over.
Mr. Chairman, I got
So
10
we at that time gave you all the emails.
I got one
we
more
had.
question, Mr. Chairman, just in the last 10 seconds if I could. Have you withdrawn the letter, understanding that now TIGTA has told us that her emails are recoverable on the backup tapes? Have you withdrawn the letter that you sent to Senate Finance where you confirmed that those tapes weren't there? And I bring this up, Mr. Chairman, because this committee has some experience with letters being withdrawn. In 2011, the Justice Department, after making inaccurate statements regarding Fast and Furious, sent a letter to then-Chairman Issa, and they said this: facts have come to light during the course of this investigation that indicate the letter, the February 4th letter, contains inaccuracies. Because of this, the Department now formally withdraws the February 4th letter. So what I want to know, Mr. Koskinen, is when are you going to be square with the American people and withdraw false and misleading statements you've sent this committee, and more importantly, the letter you sent to Senate Finance? Are you going to withdraw that letter?
Absolutely not. We can have this argument for a long time. TIGTA, by the way, has spent 6 months and untold amounts of money trying to extract those emails from those backup tapes. So the idea that we could
You
somehow
said you could confirm they didn't even
gen-
exist.
the backup tapes, if you go through my records, you will find I've said the backup tapes.
Will
don't
you
exist
withdraw
because
the
they were
letter that
recorded
had
over.
falsehoods in it? That's what I'm asking.
There is no reason. There are no falsehoods, and there's no reason to withdraw that letter. I stand by that letter.